Greetings, Sigmas. Modern women's expectations about how relationships should develop are totally upended by Sigma guys. Silent, self-reliant, and impervious to the typical games, these men don't play by the rules and don't seek approval or attention like the others do. And for that reason, they are both fascinating and frustrating. The unspoken rules of dating and relationships are broken by Sigma guys, so they don't merely defy expectations. Women frequently experience imbalance, confusion, and occasionally even difficulty due to their emotional control, self-sufficiency, and refusal to conform. But why? What is it about Sigma guys that makes them so hard for women in the modern world to comprehend? We're dissecting 9 frank explanations for why Sigma men and contemporary women frequently disagree today. And it's not what you would anticipate, I assure you. Hold on tight, Sigmas, because this is going to be enlightening. Now let's get started. Point 1. Sigmas are unpredictable, and that terrifies women. Modern women are accustomed to a certain dynamic in relationships, one where men pursue relentlessly, seek validation, and follow an unspoken script of predict. They expect men to chase, to beg for attention, and to constantly seek their approval. But Sigma males, they disrupt this entire system. Sigmas don't operate on desperation. They don't flood DMs, they don't overtext, and they certainly don't make their lives revolve around someone else. This unpredictability triggers what psychologists call ambiguity aversion, a cognitive bias where people feel uneasy about situations they can't fully understand or control. Most women are wired to seek emotional security, which often translates to wanting control in relationships. When a Sigma male refuses to play the game, it unsettles them. They begin to question why he isn't seeking their validation like others do. And ironically, that very mystery, his refusal to conform, makes him even more attractive. Because what's rare is always in demand. Point 2. Sigmas don't seek validation. And that's a problem. Most men are wired to seek validation from women. They thrive on compliments, attention, and approval, constantly adjusting their behavior to impress and attract. It's a cycle driven by social conditioning, where a man's worth is often measured by how well he can gain female attention. But Sigma males, they exist outside this system entirely. A Sigma male walks into a room with quiet confidence, making no effort to impress, yet commanding attention effortlessly. This isn't arrogance, it's self-sufficiency. Unlike most men who subconsciously crave validation, a Sigma's sense of worth comes from within. This level of detachment is rare, and it disrupts the typical dynamic between men and women. Psychologically, people are drawn to what they can't control. Women are used to men seeking their approval, but when faced with a man who remains unaffected by their influence, curiosity turns into obsession. They analyze, chase, and try to decode the mystery. And that's where the power lies, because you can't manipulate a man who doesn't need you. Point 3. Sigmas aren't impressed by superficiality. Today's dating world operates like a social media marketplace full of filters, status displays, and carefully crafted illusions. Many modern women expect admiration simply for their appearance, assuming that men will chase, validate, and compete for their attention. This dynamic fuels an endless cycle of superficial interactions where image matters more than authenticity. But a Sigma, he refuses to play the game. He's not impressed by curated selfies, extravagant demands, or performative charm. He values depth, substance, and a mind that challenges his own. He seeks a partner, not a fan club. And because he doesn't respond to manipulation or shallow attraction, he disrupts the usual power dynamics of modern dating. Women who rely on attention-seeking tactics quickly become frustrated when they realize their usual strategies don't work. They label him as cold or emotionally unavailable. But the truth is simpler. He just isn't interested in the illusion. He sees beyond the surface, and in today's world of dating mirages, that makes him rare and powerful. Point 4. Sigmas are leaders, not followers. Most women have been conditioned by society, media, and tradition to expect a certain type of man, one who conforms, seeks approval, and rarely questions the status quo. From childhood, they are taught that a good man is agreeable, accommodating, and eager to please. This expectation is reinforced by romantic movies, social norms, and even peer influence. But Sigma males, We don't fit that mold. Sigma men operate on a different wavelength. We think critically, question narratives, and move through life with an independent mindset. We're not interested in following trends, chasing validation, or adapting to someone else, and this unsettles many modern women. Why? Because deep down they realize they can't control or manipulate a man who doesn't seek their approval. Women are naturally drawn to strong, independent men, yet they also find them frustrating. A Sigma's self-sufficiency forces them to either rise to his level or move on. Unlike traditional alpha males, who may dominate a relationship, Sigmas remain an enigma, strong, yet detached, present, yet unpredictable. This paradox creates both attraction and discomfort. This isn't about defying women, it's about defying control. Society rewards compliance, but Sigmas thrive on autonomy. This makes relationships with us intense, challenging, and deeply intriguing. A woman who truly understands a Sigma doesn't try to tame him. She learns to walk beside him. And that's what separates the few from the many. Point 5. Sigmas don't play the chase game. Modern dating has become a high-stakes battlefield where men are expected to jump through hoops, chasing, complimenting, texting first, and constantly proving their worth. It's a dynamic that places all the power in the hands of those being pursued. But Sigmas, they refuse to play by these outdated rules. A Sigma male understands that genuine attraction should be mutual, not forced. If a woman is interested, great, he welcomes her energy. If she's not, he moves on without hesitation. This mindset isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. He values his time and refuses to engage in pointless games. Studies in social psychology show that people are drawn to what they perceive as scarce or hard to obtain. That's why a Sigma's indifference is so powerful. It disrupts expectations. Most women are conditioned to expect pursuit, believing that a man's interest is measured by how hard he chases. But when faced with a Sigma's silence, they're left questioning their own desirability. It's not manipulation. It's simply a byproduct of self-sufficiency. Unlike traditional nice guys who overextend themselves in hopes of winning approval, Sigmas operate with a quiet confidence. They don't seek validation, and that makes them even more intriguing. In a world where attention is currency, a Sigma's refusal to beg for it makes him stand out. This is why Sigmas thrive in modern dating. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. Their focus is on their own growth, ambitions, and purpose. And paradoxically, that's what makes them so magnetic. Point 6. Sigmas prioritize their mission over relationships. For the modern woman, many men exist to orbit around her desires, seeking validation through constant attention and approval. Social media has amplified this dynamic, with countless men simping over investing in women who give little in return. But a Sigma male operates on a different frequency. Purpose, ambition, and legacy always come first. This isn't about neglecting relationships, it's about priorities. History has shown that the greatest men, from Leonardo da Vinci to Nikola Tesla, were deeply committed to their work, their vision, and their self-mastery. They didn't chase, they built, and that ironically made them more desirable. When a man is self-sufficient, emotionally grounded, and driven by purpose, he becomes both attractive and intimidating. Women may want him, but they can't control him. A man who is already fulfilled doesn't seek permission to live his life. This is what makes Sigmas both dangerously appealing and frustratingly unattainable. Point 7. Sigmas hold high standards. Unlike the average man, Sigmas refuse to settle for mediocrity. They don't bend to societal expectations or tolerate unnecessary drama, entitlement, or mind games. In a world where many expect men to tolerate disrespect while demanding perfection in return, the Sigma male stands up. His refusal to lower his standards isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. And that, to some, is an unforgivable offense. This dynamic is especially evident in relationships. Many women are accustomed to men who compromise their boundaries for validation, but a Sigma, he operates differently. He isn't moved by emotional manipulation. He doesn't chase approval, and he certainly won't tolerate toxic behavior. Instead of self-improvement, some choose to label him as intimidating or too much simply because he won't be controlled. Psychology backs this up. People often reject what they don't understand. Studies show that individuals who exhibit high levels of independence and self-sufficiency can be perceived as unapproachable or even threatening. This isn't because they're hostile, it's because they challenge the norm. Sigmas do exactly that. But here's the reality. A Sigma male doesn't exist to fit into anyone's mold. He builds his own path free from the need for approval. While others waste time playing games, he focuses on growth. While others fear being alone, he thrives in solitude. And while some see his confidence as a threat, the truth is he's simply operating on a level they can't reach. So let them call you intimidating. Let them claim you're too much. It only proves one thing: you're doing something right. Because a Sigma doesn't lower his standards to fit in. He rises above, and that in the end is what sets him apart. Point 8. Sigmas expose the truth, and most can't handle it. Most men filter their words, sugarcoat reality, or tiptoe around hard truths to avoid conflict, especially when it comes to women. But a Sigma male, he doesn't play that game. He values truth over comfort, clarity over confusion, and reality over illusion. If something doesn't make sense, he says it. If there's a double standard, he calls it out. If someone plays the victim when they're really in control of their choices, he won't entertain the act. This is why Sigmas often find themselves at odds with society. We live in an era where emotions frequently override logic, where people would rather feel good than hear the truth. But history shows us that great minds like Socrates, who was sentenced to death for questioning societal norms, were often labeled as threats simply for speaking truthfully. Take the modern dating landscape. A Sigma male might point out that while society tells men to be strong providers, it simultaneously criticizes them for embracing traditional masculinity, or that a woman demanding financial stability from a man while rejecting the idea of gender roles. These aren't attacks. They're observations grounded in reality. But here's the problem. In a world that rewards delusion over truth, honesty is seen as aggression rather than wisdom. Sigmas aren't afraid of this backlash. They understand that being real will cost them popularity, but they don't seek validation from the crowd anyway. They would rather be respected for their honesty than liked for their silence. So when a Sigma speaks his mind, it isn't to be harsh. It's because he refuses to live in a lie. And while society may try to silence truth-tellers, history proves that the world eventually catches up to the wisdom they tried to ignore. Point 9. Sigmas are rare, and that sparks envy. Let's be real, most men follow the script society hands. They seek approval, conform to expectations, and compete for female validation. They mold themselves into what others want, often at the expense of their own identity. But a Sigma, he's cut from a different cloth. He doesn't chase validation because he doesn't need it. His confidence isn't dependent on external approval, and his self-sufficiency makes him immune to manipulation. This level of independence is rare. And in life, anything rare triggers one of two reactions: admiration or resentment. People either respect what they don't understand or fear it. And unfortunately, for most modern women, it's the latter. Why? Because a Sigma male disrupts the traditional power dynamics in relationships. Women are used to men who seek their approval, who bend over backward for attention. But a Sigma doesn't play that game. He operates on his own terms. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't entertain mind games, he walks away. And this lack of dependence unsettles many women who thrive on control and validation. Studies in evolutionary psychology suggest that women are naturally drawn to high-status, confident men. But when a man exudes confidence without seeking their approval, it creates a paradox. They are drawn to him yet frustrated by his indifference. This explains why some women admire Sigmas while others resent them. It's an emotional tug-of-war. A Sigma's rare mindset also challenges societal norms. In a world where emotional validation is currency, a man who is unbothered by external opinions is an anomaly. People often attack what they can't control, which is why Sigmas face criticism, doubt, and even hostility. But the truth remains: greatness is never understood in its time. So Sigma, embrace your uniqueness. You don't exist to be liked, you exist to be respected. And that alone is enough to set you apart from the crowd. Sigmas, the truth is 97% of modern women dislike us because they can't control us. They can't predict us, and they can't manipulate us. But that's their problem, not ours. So what should we do? Keep building, keep evolving. And most importantly, keep walking the path of self-mastery undisturbed by the opinions of those who can't comprehend our mindset. If you found value in this, hit that like button and subscribe to join this community of elite purpose-driven men. Let's redefine masculinity on our own terms. Having said this,